Just a quick note here. We had some technical difficulties at the onset, so we're going to be starting from this point. You're pretty much just missing the introductions. So we're going to jump in here.
All right. So you're
Okay.
saying that you're 20x, right? You decided to do 20x long. You chose that yourself, yes?
Yes. You could pick different leverages as you go through here. You'll see right here in the top right on this exchange. This one goes up to 30x max. And effectively, what leverage does is it
So
gives you
why
the
don't you go to the
ability to
max?
take, because I don't want to put myself at too much risk, because it goes both ways.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So me taking out 20x, I'm going to keep it very simple. So if I do a $100 long, okay, on a $100 coin, and it goes up to 110, and I sell, I make $10 on 1x,
Okay.
right? If in the
Yep.
same scenario, if I have a $100 coin and I 20x it, I am now able to take a long at $2,000. All right, so that
Okay.
$2,000 will get me 20 coins for that $100. So now if that goes up $10, you can do the math there. I would make $200.
Okay.
All right. So effectively what leverage is it's the ability to take a loan. Obviously it's risky because you're using credit to give you more power when it comes to making trades. With that comes more risk because God forbid this loan that, this long that I took here at 860 goes the opposite direction. It also increases the likelihood that I'm going to get liquidated quicker because I'm at risk for gambling more money. I'm saying gambling because it's effectively what you're doing. You're putting more money on the line in the trade.
What
All right.
caps you then? So
What
what would
caps you?
cap you?
So there's no technical cap. The cap is what you have in your fund. So you see right
Okay.
here, I have $454 available. That's constantly
Yep.
fluctuating. My account equity is 525. So that's actually the cash of the account. I have this spread locked up in this trade, and
Okay.
then plus the leverage. All right. So if this goes negative 500 something dollars, it will liquidate my account. I'll go to zero, and I won't be able to trade.
Gotcha. Can
All
you,
right.
but once that it's liquidated, can it keep going down or you have that with that stop loss we were talking about before? Like I guess
So
like when you're shorting a stock, it could just plummet and then you're gonna get liquidated and then it's just a cluster F.
yeah, so
So
it can go either way. So if you don't have a stop loss in play, it'll just liquidate you and kill all your funds and go to zero.
got
So
it.
it'll keep you in it until you're at zero. But you'll see right here, I actually have a stop loss in play
Okay.
for
Yeah,
this. So if this
875.
dropped, I'm actually guaranteeing myself in profit already with this
Okay.
15-cent spread. I'm actually going to change this, which I can edit. Actually, no, I don't want to do it in here. I want to go to my other order. So what I'm doing is I'm going to my active orders, and I have a stop loss order right here. I'm going to modify it, and I'm going to change this now. Right now, the strike price is at 908. I'm going to move this up to $9. So now, at most, this will try to execute as it drops down to $9 even from the 909 mark that it's at. So
Okay.
I'm
Got
locking
it.
in those profits. It might come in a little bit less because what it'll do is it'll try to sell, but every time you sell something, what? You need a buyer, right?
Right.
So if there's no buyer immediately, it'll keep trying to sell my long until it can. But usually it's right around that $9 mark, maybe $8.99 and some change and so on. So that's in a nutshell, Joe, that's leverage trading. If the exchange is lending you money, giving you more buying power, being able to take out more coins on your longs. But the flip side is also true. It's also giving you the chance to put more risk on so you could lose money. So that Ethereum bot that I told you about,
Yep.
um, in a sense, is like it's the same thing, but it only goes up to 5x. So I give it cash, and then it will trade on its own and enter long positions at 5x, and so on. So I'm giving that bot more power to go long on its own, but at the same time, I'm also risking 5x the amount. So instead of a normal scenario where if it's 1x, I'm getting a 1% loss if it goes down, it would be a 5% loss in its place.
Okay. How much you got on that? Like what's your comfortable range of gambling then?
Well, the cap for the bot, I'm pretty comfortable with the bot, even though it's had some big losses since I've been in it, but it's also had a lot of wins to the point that I'm up probably a couple $100 right now, where I was up 1,000 before. But that's the ebbs and
Okay.
flows of the markets right now. As long as I'm not losing all my money, I'm pretty confident with what it does. Um,
Okay.
if you look at the results over time, it's kind of proven itself that it is a pretty good bot. So long term, it's going to be fine. It's just a matter of not getting into the minutia. Right now, I have like $3,500 sitting in there.
Okay.
So I'm just letting it run, and I'm going to let it build up to the $6,000, and then once it hits that $6,000 marker, that's when I'll start funneling profits out of the bot.
Got it.
But all right, let's jump. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, let's hope for that bull run this year.
Well, yeah, that's. I mean, we've been in a little bit of a bull run, and by bull run, I mean like a bit of a rally, because as far as I'm concerned, like the country's still pretty much in a recession. But
sure,
the TAs and technicals of everything are showing pretty solid charts across the board. Granted, today was not so great.
No.
I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow when Powell speaks, so we'll see. All right, I want to jump into some charts so you can see some charts. And this is kind of like what I'm telling you when I'm like looking at charts, looking for trades.
Sure.
This is Filecoin. All right. In a nutshell, what I'm doing is I'm looking at the 1 hour. So what I'm going to do is kind of describe what you're looking at, because I mentioned this indicator to you before, right? You could say no if I didn't.
No, you did. No. I'm looking at your screen for zooming in. So like, you gave me a snippet of it. Yeah, go ahead.
So what this indicator is doing is it helps you make moves, and it's going to give you pretty solid insight into the market itself and give you an idea of when you should be jumping into the move versus not. But obviously, there's no such thing as a guarantee. Well, the markets are actually really red since 8 o'clock turned around.
Let's preface this as like this is within an hour, right? This is what the graph is. So this is more for daytime, day traders, right? This isn't like somebody just wants to buy and then
hold long term.
Just hold, right? Just to hold for your life.
You could use it for that for sure. Now, obviously, you're going to be more active in it if you're day trading,
right?
But I definitely you could definitely use it for both, and I'll tell a little bit of a story about that in a minute. Actually, kind of wrap it up to give you why that is the case. But I want to show you what you're looking at first. So you'll notice a few things here. You can ignore the yellow lines. The yellow lines are kind of levels of like where this coin can go for support and resistance. Let's start with that. Do you know what support and resistance are?
Yeah, that's a pretty big span though, right? I mean, it's like 935 to 587. It's almost a little under half, right?
Yep.
So that resistance
there's going to be different markers and level here. Yep. So 935 is the biggest resistance point that we have right now, and the reason this is indicated, you can go right back here.
Okay.
And you can see that we touched on it multiple times to come down.
Yeah.
What's that?
Okay. That's what they determined that. Okay. But that's within an hour though, right? We're still talking about the hour.
I would go to a higher time frame to get more trustworthy numbers.
Yeah. Right.
So
right.
If I go to 6 hours, you'll notice that marker's there again. Right. Pretty much in the same spot. I like using the 6 hours because it's more trustworthy than the 1 hour. But one of the things that we do in trading to kind of keep one thing. Sorry, I'll just keep going. One of the things that we do in trading is like you're going to use the high time frame to get more justified backing of a move. All right.
Sure.
So what you do is use the high time frame to kind of take a look and get a good indicator of what to do, and then you use the lower time frames to kind of see where the volatility is right now to justify when to get in. That's kind of like how I generally use it. But you can really rely on the high time frames and just trade high time frames. Some people like to trade low time frames where they're scalping and they're moving in slowly. Some people trade the weekly time frames, which sometimes promises a little bit more insight and a little bit more less risk, which is obviously what you want. So coming in here, let's look at the 6 hour and see what we're looking at here. So if I zoom out, we can go back all the way to the end of last year, right?
Yep.
So if we take a look at this, I want to show you what this is telling us, so you have an understanding of like what I'll see. So I'll zoom in a little bit here. Coming in here back on Christmas, going back to Christmas, all right, this yellow shade is what's known as a squeeze.
Okay.
Which is one of the things this indicator gives us. And what this effectively tells us is that there's a lot of price action in this zone. Meaning there's a lot of spending going on. It's building. And effectively, it's going to go in some direction. All right? It could go up. It could go down. We don't really know at the onset, right? But we're waiting for it to happen. You can see this squeeze on the 6 hour lasted for about 2 days. So from the 24th to the 26th. Coming into the squeeze, you'll see these red dots. Red dots mean bear. Lack of a better phrase, it's going to go down, or it's indicating that's
Yep.
going to stay down. All right.
Okay.
One thing I want to highlight before I keep going there is you'll notice this track line right here.
Yeah.
It's also red and it's below the track line. That really shows bear when those are in conjunction.
Yep.
All right. So in those scenarios, you would be shorting. Okay. However, while it was in this squeeze, you'll see this R. This R stands for reversal.
Okay.
All right. A reversal pretty much means it's swinging in one of the directions. A blue R is usually means it's coming off of bottoming and it's going up. A yellow R means it's coming off of it's hitting its peak and it may potentially come down. However, what you want to do in these scenarios when you're using these bars is you want to validate with the following bar. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll look at this reversal and then you'll look at the next wick here to see if it continues the reversal trend. So you're looking for it to be above this previous wick.
Okay.
Now, this wick right here is actually iffy because you notice it's got that big bottom, but the wick kicking up, which means like it rose up to this point, but then it came back down within that 6 hour frame and wrapped up actually kind of even with the reversal. So there's no confirmation that this reversal is 100% in play. All right. So pretty much what you're doing is you're looking for whatever move you're going, looking at the next candle to determine movement before you ultimately make a move. Or if you're a gambler, you're going in at this reversal and going, hey, let's see what happens.
Sure.
Right? So what we're doing is we're validating. So at this point, if I was looking at this to trade, I'd be like, okay, I got to wait. Right? So we're going to keep going. Okay, the wick's moving up. It's moving up again. The next wick, we got a green dot. Green dot, like the bear dot, the red dot, it's bullish in this scenario. Green dot means it's potential to go up. So I'm going to look at the next bar. The next bar is a nice flat one that finishes a little bit above this wick. And then we get this big green bar shooting out of the squeeze. And you'll see Filecoin goes from 296 immediately up to like 320. All right. So that's a big run, right? But it immediately kicks over to a reversal to the downside, hence the yellow and the R. So the yellow R, we're going to sit here and look and wait and see what happens, right? So at this point, I would not be 100% confident in whether or not this coin is going to continue to go up. So we're going to probably wait and see what happens, whether or not we're going to enter a trade. But coming out of a squeeze to the upside usually is indicative that this coin is about to go on an upward trend. So it spends some time consolidating with no dots, which means you should probably wait. Or if you're already in a trade, you're just waiting in the trade, but you should not really generally be taking a trade in these scenarios. There's a red dot, another red dot, still showing a little bearish sentiment. But the thing it's got going for it now is that this trend, you'll notice it's now the bars are all green versus red.
Yeah.
The green trend indicates that it is to the upside. It is in a bullish trend. All right. So coming over on New Year's, so on December 31st, we get another green dot. We get a reversal. And then that gets invalidated by the next wick with a green dot. And then you'll see that we're sitting at what, 295 right now? 298? Mm-hmm. You'll start to see that it swings up. All of these reversals get denied. We get another big green arrow pushing upwards. A few chances where we have some swings to the downsides from reversal, but ultimately the momentum is too strong. And you can see, as I zoom out, we've been in an upward movement ever since, pretty much.
Right.
Right? So if you caught this down here, this green arrow, and just sat on it a little bit and caught this flip, you could have rode this all the way up with this indicator and not left a single long and just let it go. So if you had did that, let's do this. We'll take this, ride this all the way up here. 200 and about 12% gain on if you went long in that scenario. Now multiply that with leverage, and that's a pretty damn good trade.
So let's talk about the current time now. So let's go back to the closer time frame of this hour or last 6 hours. What are we
So
looking at
yeah,
right
so we're
now?
looking up
It
right
still
here in the
looks
top
pretty
right. That's
green.
where we are.
Right. That's what I mean. So if we're looking at that now,
hmm
where is our projection from here?
So
So
right
you got your
now,
green.
everything that we're bullish.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Okay,
Right.
so
Right.
you'll
That's
see
what it
right
looks
here.
like.
So back February 15th, so about a week ago, which I think is when I told you about Filecoin. Approximately, like we're looking at a potential move because I know I got in like right around here, which was when this green dot, another squeeze on the 6 hour, shot out
Yeah.
and it moved from $5 to where we are now, which is sitting at approximately eight. It's at 896, which means my long probably just closed because I set that to $9. But it wicked out at about 916. It looks like at its peak here. So
Yeah.
we're in a bullish trend as long as we are seeing a continuous trend of like green dots.
Yeah.
You'll notice we got another arrow here, and we're over the track line. We're
Yes.
in a bullish sentiment. All right. Getting into this time frame, you'll notice the track starts to go red. We lose a dot, then we get a dot, then we lose a dot, and then it's yellow, but we still have a dot. If we're in this scenario, we want to be kind of cautious entering trades because
Right.
there's a lot of variability versus the continuous trend here of green dots that we see before that.
Yep. Sure.
All right.
So can you zoom out to all the whole time frame?
On a 6 hour, probably not, but I can go to a weekly.
No, I was gonna say because the range of Filecoin, if I'm not mistaken, let's say we were to like I don't know. Let's see, when was it? It was at. 'Cause I'm
It
looking at
peaked out
on
back in 2021 at about $234.
right. So and then even before that, if you look at October 2020,
Right
it
here
was at 30 some bucks.
when it launched.
No, October. No, it didn't. It didn't Filecoin launch in 2018, 2017,
No, it
2017.
launched in. Yeah, the chart only goes back to 2020.
Okay, right.
What
So
I'm seeing here.
2020. Okay, no worries. So 2020 though, like October 18th, it was up to $32, and then it plummeted or whatever, back down
A little bit.
to yeah. All right, not plummet, I guess. But then I guess my whole point is skyrockets to 230. So
Yeah, and you could see it. It was all
Bitcoin or
indicated
bullish
sitting here
sentiment.
on the weekly. Say it again.
But that's I guess what I'm saying is that swing from that sentiment from like $22 to like 240.
Yep.
Like where the hell
And
does
if
that
you had
come
this
from?
indicator,
People
you
are
would have
just
saw it.
dumping money.
Yeah, people are just scooping
Okay,
up the coin.
but people are they're just dumping.
Yep.
Okay, because that's huge, huge.
Yeah,
Right now.
it's a huge swing. As
Okay.
soon as this green dot hit and this green arrow hit, if you had followed this, like that instant validation of another green arrow on the following weekly, you would have definitely have gone long here if you caught this, and it would have been a hell
Yeah.
of a gain. So if we look at
Yeah.
this
Sure.
and say we caught it at the validation, 400%.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So this indicator is why I wanted to show it to you. Like you can see it picking up the different moves. Like it picked the downward trend, it hit the red dots back here after that move. So this is when we started to go bear back in like mid 2021 kind of. And you'll notice it's red dots and like it's taking you on the short all the way down practically if you follow the red dots.
Right.
And then it picks up the reversal on the weekly. And if you picked up the reversal on the weekly there and saw that it was confirmed, and this goes back to like the high time frame being more valuable when it comes to this stuff, you would immediately seen the reversal, seen the confirmation, and you can erode this up from like $3 to where we are now. And
So
not got
this is all part
out.
of the right. So this is all part of the program. This is all part of what KuCoin or was it Binance?
This is TradingView. This is just a chart program. It pulls in data from all different exchanges. So you can see right here, Binance, KuCoin, Bing, CoinEx, OKX. The indicator is called Alpha Trend, which I have installed on TradingView, which allows me to look at charts from different exchanges before I go and enter my trades.
I see. Okay, that's what I was curious. I was wondering where you're getting these, charts and graphs from. So,
Yeah,
okay,
this is all getting pulled in live. So, like, if we wanted to look at like Bitcoin, we can look at Coinbase's chart. You see that over time.
How about we talk about one of our my favorite coin?
What's your favorite coin?
Which would be what? What do you think, huh? What have I been?
Well, you want to look at AVAX?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's pull up the perp. So AVAX is actually right now it's showing bullish because it's actually I think there's some announcements supposed to be coming from potentially with
Amazon.
Amazon. That's like the rumor right now.
Yeah.
But let's look at the AVAX here. So we remember back in mid 2021, AVAX went on its run, right?
Yeah.
And we're looking at the weekly, right? Yep. So you notice it hits the red trend mid 2021, and then it just snaps right around here.
Yep.
And immediately shoots up and ends up peaking out at what, 130, 150? Yeah, 147.
Yeah.
So one of the things you could have did if you were following this chart is saw this reversal coming, sold your AVAX, going back to investing part. Saw the reversal, saw
Right.
it was confirmed, and realized that this was just in a downward trend because it immediately went into a weekly squeeze that lasted, about 4 months. That's a long
Yeah.
weekly squeeze. And when it came out of the squeeze, it was to the downside. You see the red dot below the track, red dot, and then we got
Yep.
the red arrow, and it just went all the way down to 1091, which is where it bottomed out a couple weeks ago. And then you would have seen, if you're looking at this, you would have seen another weekly, you would have seen another squeeze, which is what we've seen in this current rise up when it was at like $12 to where it's trading right now around like 20, 21 bucks. But on the weekly, if you want me to just give feedback here, it's bullish because we have 2 green dots sitting above the track line, which indicates that this is bullish because we have a green dot above, and then we have another green dot right after on the weekly, which is still in the process of technically validating. We're waiting for the week to end, but it's not showing any signs of being below. So barring the government messing with us,
Yeah.
this should continue the trend, like unless Bitcoin ends up tanking, which takes the whole market with it.
Sure.
So
That makes sense.
to speak to investing again, I'll pull up my my boy Tesla over here because obviously this applies to stocks too.
Yep.
So you'll see Tesla. All right. So I bought in. I was looking at the charts when I was told like, hey, you should really look at Tesla, start to get into Tesla, right? I was like, cool. And one of the initial buying zones I was given was around like 150, right? Which honestly, 150 is a steal for Tesla if you look at the history, right? Great.
Sure.
But I was looking at the chart and I was like, I think that this is going to continue to go down. And with the liquidity in play, I wanted to wait, but I was like, all right, you know what? I still want to get it just on the off chance it's going to go up. But if I had listened to my gut, I would have seen that it's still in a red trend and it kept going down. So I would technically could have waited until it hit around here, which is around somewhere between 120 and 100. And then I could have ridden the rebound all the way up. Now, instead, my average, I did get some in this range, which was good. My average ended up being around like 125, and I made around like $1,000 or so trading it, moving its way back up. But sitting in the weekly now, Tesla is bullish. It's back to above the track line, and we got multiple green dots indicating that right now.
Yep. Sure.
So yeah, you could definitely use this for investing long term. It's a great view to give you an idea of potential trend of a coin or a stock or an index too, because like I could look at the dollar index. Like this is the dollar index right now, and I can tell you this is like perfectly inversely correlated with the crypto market majority of the time. So if the dollar index is going up, crypto is going down.
Right.
If the dollar is going down, crypto is generally going up. Let me see if I can do this actually. Let's do. Let me see BTC. Do I have that built in here? Or do I have to? No. All right, so I'm gonna have to add Bitcoin. So you see that?
Oh yeah, nice.
So you'll notice as this rises up, the Bitcoin is going down in value here, and as this starts 50%? To curve up, what?
Yeah. Does that say 50%? Is that what I see in yellow or orange? I mean,
yeah.
Yep.
So it's pretty interesting seeing the spread. As you can see, as this goes up, this goes down.
Yep.
And that's kind of like where we are right now with like just how the markets move. That's why you see everybody kind of paying attention to this stuff with the government and how it's all directly impacting coins. And the synchronicity between the two is honestly kind of frustrating.
What about since you have these up? What about Matic? How's Polygon look?
All right, so looking at Polygon right now, let me move. Well, we're on the weekly. We can look at the weekly.
So you have your
Polygon
resistance there.
again.
So yeah.
Let me get rid of this. So Matic right here, you can see right here, it's sitting in the squeeze when it was coming out of the weekly. So if we were paying attention, it's early January. I mean, granted, this
Yeah.
is when most coins went bananas. It was right around beginning of January. You'll notice it's coming out of a weekly squeeze. It was sitting. Why is this in percentages now? I really need to get this 100%. Oh, that's actually even better. Okay. No, we don't want USDT. Let's go to USD. And yeah. All right. So when it's moving, you can see it hit the squeeze and immediately shot up to where we want it to be. Right. But the issue right now with what we're looking at Matic, Joe, is we are currently printing a reversal on the weekly.
Right.
Obviously, we will want to wait for confirmation. And right now it's trading at 135. So it's a little tough to see, but it's sitting in a reversal. I'd be waiting unless I'm looking at maybe some shorter time frames. No, this isn't looking great either. So if we look at the 4 hour, we can notice back at 3 o'clock on Tuesday, we had a red dot out of a squeeze going to the downside. So we could have called a short where this was peaking out at like $1.50 and rode this down to where it is at like $1.35 right now. That's kind of crazy.
What was the highest from Matic? It was like $3, right?
It peaked out in the high twos.
High twos, okay.
Yes, I knew, which would be right around here.
Gotcha.
$2-3. See, this is me having to learn about like this stuff too. So here we go. Yeah, currencies. Yep. Right, recent $1.57. Yeah, how far back do we have to go? Yep. So it was literally like 290.
Wow.
291. Okay. It was all-time high looking at it from the 4 hour. So you can see, but like if you're looking at this trend, even on the 4 hour, like the arrow is pulling you in the right directions, the dots pulling you in the right directions, the squeeze, like there's so many trades you would have picked up if you were paying attention to this.
Right.
And this is why I look at this stuff. This is what you hear me talking about when I'm looking at charts.
Makes sense.
Like
it makes sense.
It's just, yeah, it's a tool that is just extremely beneficial.
If you're feeling more confident with this stuff, right?
Exactly. It gives you more, makes you more confident in what you're doing. It makes you make trades that are less likely to be crap.
Let's look at one of your top favorite coins. It's Shiba, right? That was one of your favorites.
SHIB? Oh God, I don't think SHIB was ever one of my favorite coins.
I know you hate it.
Yeah, it's such garbage. But actually, recently it had a really, really nice pop.
Yeah,
I caught this right around here at this reversal.
Did you buy some? Look at you.
Well, I longed it. I didn't buy it.
I see.
I saw the chart was looking good. I caught the reversal move, which was confirmed, and I wrote it up a little bit here and got a nice little profit. Where was it? I went in like right around here. Wrote it right here.
Nice.
Yeah, okay. 8%. So I mean, every percentage counts. And you'll see right now, even SHIB on the 4 hour had that same shading squeeze that we saw in Matic, which just shows you how in conjunction the market is. And right now, this just popped up. Did you see that? This red arrow literally just showed.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. As we were sitting here, which means that
right?
It's likely. You can't guarantee it.
Right.
But it is likely. These red dots below the track line coming out of the squeeze, this is indicative that it could be a good shorting opportunity. Let's see, the red arrow just went away because of how it's moving. So let's actually, let's look at the hour.
It just popped up again.
Yeah, so if you look at the hourly, we would have caught the squeeze overnight at about 3 a.m. It popped, it went down. It's tried to reverse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times on the hour, each time not getting it, and just continues to get pushed down.
Right.
So, yeah, it's interesting. Let's look at 6 hours. 6 hours is showing a red arrow out of the squeeze potentially. Still got a small arrow instead of a big arrow. This is potentially just about to shoot downward. You know what? I'm going to short this right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, dude, might as well take advantage of it.
I mean, I don't have 100% validation here. I would want to wait to see what comes out. But this is showing that it's probably going to go down. So why not take a small short down? All right.
We'll see.
So in order to
Yeah,
do this, I'll go
so let's see.
20x.
Let's see this short. Let's see how you do this then.
We're going to take a small short. I'm not putting a lot of money on this because I've learned my lesson. No, I want to do market. So I'm putting 5% on what's available in my book right now. And I'm going to cancel this. And you'll see the position will just pop up right here, 436 USD worth, and this short's going to ride. So we'll see how this goes. I'm obviously going to be leaving this going overnight, but this is showing. I'm glad I caught this. This is showing that this could potentially have some downward movement, especially if this shoots
See,
out.
that's why you got to go to the coins you hate, man. So I got to bring you over to it.
Yeah, right. Why not? Let's take a look at. Might as well look at Doge while we're here. Another garbage coin. Doge doing the same thing. We got a red dot, and this was confirmed. You can see there's a red arrow here with the red dot, and then it does it again. And right now, this is in about 16 minutes because the 6 hour ends at 1. This is probably going to confirm as being below this wick too. I'm going to take a small short in Doge. So this is tough. So like it's, I'm only doing this because we're sitting here doing this. And if it goes
so Kyle, let me ask you though. So you just hit short. Do you have to put an objective, like how far you think it's going to drop, or you just leave it open until you close it?
You can leave it open until you close it, or you can put in what's known as a take profit, which if it hits a certain point, it'll close it for you.
I see.
So it's a good way, like if you're not around, to guarantee like, hey, if it hits this price point, it's going to close. I generally operate if I'm awake that I move my stop loss up, locking in profits, so I don't shortchange myself. Okay. If I'm going to sleep overnight, I'll set my SL at the best I possibly can. And if I'm not in a state where it would make sense to set the SL is just going to be under, I'll set a take profit, usually at like a certain percentage level over for gains. So, but each of these coins right now are indicating that they're probably going to come out of a 6 hour squeeze to the downside.
Right.
Despite the agreed trends on some of these lower time frames, 4 hours is pushing that too. 1 hour is showing that. How about the 15 minutes? 50 minutes, we're looking at red dots below the track line. But the 6 hours is showing pretty strong chance of it happening. So we'll see what happens. I'm obviously going to have to leave this up overnight, and we'll see how it pans out.
Nice, dude. Good luck.
Yeah. Any other questions, sir?
No, I mean, even if you look at Bitcoin, it's like even like earlier today, it was 25,300 or whatever, 25,300. Now it's at like what, 24? So it's like,
yeah, and we actually got our first we got a red dot here for the first time on the last 6 hour here.
So yeah, it looks like the tide's changing then.
So you'll notice here, if I go to the daily, we actually have a local top sitting right around 25K. And you can see this resistance bar over here, which is provided by this indicator as well. So let me branch this out. So you'll notice like it's having trouble getting off this 25 over this 25.2. We hit a top, and we are now heading in a direction of this downward movement where we are potentially going to confirm this top. Obviously, we're a ways away. We got 18 hours for that to happen, which is okay. If top gets confirmed, it's fine. You'll see there's multiple tops here on the daily.
Right.
Where we just kept a consistent trend, but we had a bit of a dip here and then ended up reversing back up over around like Valentine's Day and ended up shooting back up to the 25K mark. So only time will tell. Yeah, well, I mean, it moves the market, dude. So we really do have to pay attention.
Yeah, I meant for V-Day.
Right. Yeah. Right, but like, look at this indicator, dude. So like, if you were on this, right, back in what, November, October 2022, and saw this reversal on the weekly, which was back when Bitcoin was at like 69,000.
Oh shit!
And you shorted at that point.
Yeah,
you could have rode that all the way down.
So where does that short? I guess the part, because I never actually did this before. Where does that calculation come into play? You say you're writing it down. Like, what's the max you can make? Let's say you're shorting it. You put on $500 when it was at 69,000, went down to 20,000 or whatever. We can make it 29,000, so it's a $40,000 loss. How do you calculate how much money you're going to make?
It all depends on how much you're able to afford. So if you look at my $500, how much is my $500 going to get me out of a Bitcoin? Even right now,
Yeah.
right? It's not going to get me
No,
much
no.
of a Bitcoin, right?
No. Right.
I think right now it's like what 5% of a Bitcoin. So it wouldn't get me much. So I wouldn't have a lot. So if I
Right.
move this to like the maximum X of 50,
Yeah.
so if I take that 500 times 50, that gives me what? I don't feel like doing math right now.
525,
50 times 500, 10 is 5 times
20, 25K.
25K. So that
Yeah.
would get me one Bitcoin at my
Right.
current level. So if it was up here, it would have got me a half a Bitcoin. So I effectively would have had around $33,000 worth of this Bitcoin. So whatever this
Yeah.
spread is, it's only going to be a half a Bitcoin worth. I honestly wouldn't have made a ton of money on that short
Got it.
because I'm literally riding only a half a Bitcoin through this entire exchange. So it's like I'm
Right.
coming in here at like
Okay.
this instead of 66K, it's going to be worth like 30K or 32K, and it would have been just the spread.
Right. I see.
So, but if I
Okay.
can afford multiple Bitcoins, that's where it starts to build.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, it's
A
all
new
about
form of
what you can
gambling.
afford value wise when you go long and short. So, whatever your coffers are. Obviously, if I have 10 grand, 20 grand in here, and then I'm using like 50 at leverage, that gives me a couple $100,000 to play with. I'm going to be able to afford more coin. And the more
Right.
coin I have, instead of like, I only have $436 on here, 438 here, because I had these on 20X. They're very small
Right.
buys.
Right. Sure.
But the leverage is giving me more coin to play with. So when this goes up and I get that spread, I make more money. But like I said, it's the same for both sides. But this would have
Sure.
been a nice return in no matter case. Like even if you went in with $500, this would have been a nice return.
Sure. Yeah. It's always anything to the good, man. It's always a good win.
Exactly. Profits are profits, man.
Then you gotta know when that's the other battle.
Let me see. I want to see forecast. Yeah, look at that. That's a $50,000 drop. If you had one full Bitcoin and rode that whole thing down, you could have
Oh,
made
yeah.
one
Sure.
X 50 grand.
Nice, dude. Yep.
Like, I mean, you remember Luna? Like, people were making so much money shorting Luna.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Yep. They just
So
arrested
yeah,
him,
man,
I
that's
think.
so they did actually. They did.
Joe Kwon. Yeah.
But
I
yeah, man,
heard Joe Kwon.
that's this beautiful thing in a nutshell that I've been meaning to show you for a while now. Now you know why I'm like looking at it and it's like addictive.
No, dude.
But it's
That's
fun.
awesome, man. I hope you. Sure. I hope you hit those two trash coins that you love. So
Yeah.
hopefully that was a good
I'll
bet tonight.
text you tomorrow on that.
You got the text me tomorrow. Yeah. So that's cool, dude.
But
All
we'll
right.
see
Well,
how
I
it pans out. If
appreciate
it hits
that.
that squeeze like we saw, it'll be good.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I appreciate the quick breakdown. I think that's pretty good for a good little
Yeah, we
first
ran
round.
through that. And I look forward to obviously next video we do. Like I mentioned at the beginning, we're going to be branching out. We'll be talking about some other topics. It's not just going to be all crypto. We just figured this would be a good opportunity to start and kind of get the gears moving for a video real quick.
Yeah, I like it. That
So,
sounds good. All right. Well, we'll see you next
all right.
time, whatever our topic might be.
They'll have to join to find out. But that'll be on
Yeah,
a
we got
completely different channel, which I'll have to link to here too. But I'm looking forward to growing that with you, man.
sounds good. Same here. All right, brother. I'll talk to you
All
soon.
right.
All right.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
See you.
I'll see you.
Dude.